Hello, I'm David Jackson. My presentation is titled When Hollywood Gets It Right. It's a story of factual fantasy, a cautionary tale of crime, law enforcement and government corruption, and silicon snake oil, computers for most people. Crime is big business and on the rise. Most serious high-dollar crime wouldn't even exist without the support of governments and businesses around the world. Crime fighting has been a failure for about 150 years of its 170-year history. And largely due to media sensationalism, Hollywood fantasy, it isn't likely to change. It remains misunderstood and misrepresented, pretty easily influenced by a lot of silly and disastrous ideas. Historically, solutions to crime have been just about as inept as the failures they were meant to cover up. Strange, often wild theories of crime causation and remediation have and do abound, from body typing, which is called somatotyping, to DNA mapping, and head shape interpretation known as phenology. Most thankfully, most of them have come and gone. A notable exception in the 21st century is the junk science of criminal profiling, which, thanks to media hype and Hollywood itself, it remains a pop culture phenomenon. In spite of it all, imagination and fantasy do occasionally predict the future and become reality. A case in point, in 2002, Steven Spielberg released a movie entitled Minority Report. It's a tale of computer crime fighting set in 2054 using technology, data mining, and precognition, with special police units catching murderers before they kill. The movie bothered a lot of people and continues to. It seemed a bit too possible. Eventually it was forgotten, and most, in the so-called civilian sector, reverted to their general state of indifference and ignorance regarding law enforcement and government. I never forgot it. I've studied and researched for a decade. Most of what I know is actually the result of 20 years as a trainer sitting on stakeouts, reviewing crime scenes, and talking to people about these matters, combined with an accidental dumb luck access to some of the information. Now, from 2002 to 2006, one of the most violent, crime-ridden cities in the United States was Memphis, Tennessee. In that 4-year period of time, their crime rate dropped 31%. It was contributed by the use of computer programs that were called Crush and Blue Crush. Crush stands for Crime Reduction Using Statistical History. Essentially, the system is based on data mining software that was, took crime stats and algorithms to calculate the places, probabilities, and potentials of future criminal activity. It works mostly because we lead habitual lives. None of us varies our daily potential and movement all that much. Even gang-banging drug dealers come and go in the same places at the same time. Our current patterns mostly betray our future. There's nothing particularly wrong with data analysis. However, it's abused in the process and becomes dangerous. By example, the Crush model was expanded to a thing called Blue Crush. This is a cyber watch data system where citizens can actually follow and report, that is, spy on other citizens. That I know of, in the United States, New York is operating a system known as ComStat, which is claimed to be very popular and very functional. Chicago has introduced a system they call iClear. They report the same thing. The National Security Agency, pardon me, several social networks, phone records, and intelligent data systems are tied into a system called CLAEA. I don't know what it stands for, and I haven't been able to find out. There are actually government agencies, such as the Internet Awareness Office, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, you may have heard of, called DARPA. Homeland Security and NASA all collect data by invading systems with viruses. Thanks to the Communications Assistance and Law Enforcement Act, it is federal law that all phone calls, internet traffic, and other communication systems are fair game to law enforcement. Programs such as Tempest, Carnivore, Echelon, and a thing called GhostNet, along with a lesser system called Magic Lantern, spy on all of us. I don't want to alarm you. I don't want to terrify you. I'd rather scare you to death. It could be worse. Right now, it may very well be. Google Ventures and the Central Intelligence Agency have formed an unholy alliance financially supporting a company called Recorded Futures. Their system scans blogs, Facebook pages, and Twitter accounts for the sole purpose of indexing interpersonal relationships. The problems are loss of privacy, constitutional rights violations, and still more wasteful and largely ineffective police subterfuge. There's no relief in sight. Awareness is limited, and even though Reporters Without Borders, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and the ACLU are on the job, there's no remedy in sight, and it's getting worse. Those who make their careers and fortunes in politics and law enforcement seem willing and able to subvert constitutional law and manipulate the technology of computer perversions to their own purposes. The Hollywood fantasy of Mr. Spielberg's fictionally futuristic Minority Report is a cautionary tale indeed. Thank you.